class or something. Last year, there was a huge group of young ladies right at the top of the stairs. They were all athletes. They were all female athletes, and I walked right through them every morning. And every morning they knew I was going to walk right through them and tell every one of them hi and ask how they were doing. They just got used to it. They started screaming at me, "Hey, Coach B!" I was like, "Hey, how's it going? You know I'm coming." All right, but it's just building that little bit of a relationship with them so that they know I'm there, and if you need to talk, I'm going to take that little bit of a moment. It's okay. I'm not in that big a hurry. You're more important, and building that relationship is extremely important. So that's the first thing I do. The second thing I do, once I have my team established, we do a book study. So every year, I try and find a different book that I think will touch that team for that year and have a theme that will go along with something that we want to do for that year. Sometimes they come with questions. If you find like a little workbook or something, sometimes they don't. Sometimes I have to make up the questions. That's a little bit more difficult and definitely more time consuming, but the results that I get from that are phenomenal because we go in a classroom setting. Not everything about athletics is out on the field or on the court. We have once a week, there is a designated classroom session, and we do our book study. And in that book study, we talk about whatever it is in that book. Sometimes it's about characters. Sometimes it's about life issues. Sometimes it's about rising from the bottom of something up to the top, and different things like that. I'll never forget the first year that I did a book study, I actually had a young lady, it came her turn to answer a question, and she just started crying. Me as a coach, right? I'm like, oh no, what did I do? She shared something that day that changed our entire mentality of a team because we realized what she was really going through in her life. Single dad was about to get kicked out because dad couldn't support her anymore. She was about to have to go out on her own. Oh my gosh. So just in a book study, it became a life lesson, and it became part of a family. And so that's where our whole thing of being a family that was in Titan Soccer came from because we took her in. She went from house to house of our soccer team, and we literally helped raise her and get her graduated and move her on. And she's extremely successful. All right, so that wouldn't have happened if we wouldn't have that classroom time and the ability for us to just sit there and they get to know me. I answer the same questions they do as well as them. They get to know each other more as a team. The third thing that I do, game days, this is just district game days. I do what I call inspiration. And I go out and I find a little story. So it's like story time. It has a moral lesson that should be taught about character or about, just the way we treat people, those types of things. And I read it. It's story time. I read it to them. They all sit. They're like little kids, right? I have varsity kids, right? And they come and they sit and they're like tuned in. They want to hear the story. I read the story and we talk a little bit about it, and then we set team goals. We set personal goals. They write them down. I tape them on the bus if we're traveling. I tape them in the locker room if we're at home. But the last part of that is on each of their inspiration at the very bottom. This gets very time consuming, I will tell you, especially when you have lots of kids. But I write a personal message to them. It's handwritten, my handwriting, from me to them every district game day. It can be something super positive. It can be, hey, I love the way you're working at practice every day, how hard you work. It could be something like, I know you want more playing time and it's going to come. You just have to stay the course and keep going. I love what I'm seeing from you. It can be all kinds of things. And they take that and they love it. Sometimes it's even compliments that I've gotten from other teammates about them. Hey, rumor has it that you're the kid that can make everyone smile when they've had the worst day of their life. I've had kids cry from their inspiration because they didn't realize people thought that about them, or they didn't realize I thought that about them and how awesome that was. And I was like, hey, it's awesome, it's good. Be excited of who you are. And so just those little moments, or little handwritten 2-3 sentences, you'd be shocked at how much impact that can have on a kid. I've had parents text me thanking me for what I said in my 2 sentences, because the kid actually went home and showed their parents something for once. They hadn't done that in years. I had one kid about 3 years ago actually sent me a video of her room as she was packing up for college. And she videoed around her bed. She'd played for me on varsity 3 years. She had every inspiration I'd ever written her all over her room. I was like, I was bawling. I was like, oh my gosh. Oh, I truly touched that kid. But you don't realize how just taking that extra little time, and yes, it is very time consuming. Anybody that sees me on game days, I'm running around with a clipboard and a pen. That's all I'm doing. Because that's what I'm doing, is I'm writing them inspirations. But it really, truly helps build that relationship. And, you know, they come back later and they tell me, I hear Coach B right here in my ear just saying something positive when I'm thinking the worst about myself. That's what it's all about. And so that's just kind of what I do. That's good.